Page 62, I Love You Truly. It's a love song, okay, big deal. It's early in the morning, I'm still having my coffee, and I do not feel like doing a love song. Well, here we go anyway. I want to make a few minor suggestions on fingering. You can try them out and see what you think. Starting with the right hand. On page 62 in the second line, the first two measures you're with 1/5 is fine. But then when you go to the third measure, I would recommend a fourth finger on that D so I can connect the melody. I want the melody is what's important here. And I would use the fourth finger on that. It helps me feel the melody a little better too. Same thing on the last line, fourth finger on it. Over on page 63, the last measure, you're doing a 1/3. Then on the quarter note, I recommend a 2/3 because this prepares you for the next chord as a 1/5. So I recommend that. Watch out on the second line, second measure. It's 1/3 and then 1/4. Again, it's the melody that's important. Look at the last measure of the third line on page 63. In the right hand, you have this chord. Then going on to the last line, I recommend a 2 on the F. And the next measure is a 2/5. And the last measure is a 1/4. Right? The melody. In the left hand, you just got the chords. On page 62 in the second line on the last couple of measures, you have this arpeggio. I recommend a 4 on the D if you can do it, because that is the fingering for that chord. Can't, then you have to do a third, but I recommend a 4. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's good for you. Same thing in the last line, the last two measures. Look at the top of page 63, they stuck in an F sharp. See, we're in the key of B flat. It's got two flats. Now all of a sudden we went into D major. Temporarily, they're giving you F sharp. Isn't that fun? Temporarily, and then you go back to where you were. In the second line on page 63 in the last two measures, you'll have to pretty much use their fingering. I've tried different fingerings out, and some are better in one way and then make something else harder, and it's a give and take thing. So just use their fingering. It's a 5, 3, 1, crossover for the 2, and then a 1. And then I mean, you could get away with a 2, 3, 1. It's up to you. You know, you don't have to use that fingering, but that fingering is as good as any. And the next line down on the last two measures, it's similar. It's 5, 3, 1, 2. Here on that last note of the third line there, I could use second finger instead of third because I have an A coming up, and it's easier to reach it if I play the second finger on the E. So the last two measures of the third line. Then in the last two measures of the piece at the bottom, I still recommend a 4 on the D if you can do it. The fermata at the end, I'm going to hold 6 counts instead of 3 because I'm playing with a metronome, a doublet. You've heard it before. On the pedaling, they're showing a legato pedaling throughout. Well, I disagree slightly. When you have phrases, legato pedaling is fine at the beginning. I'm going to push the notes down first and then the pedal. And at each measure, I'm going to change the pedal right after I play the notes. Between the phrases, I want some silence, so I'm going to lift the pedal up with the right hand and then put it down after I play the notes in the next measure or the next phrase. So the last measure of the first line is here. Lift the pedal up. Now the left hand doesn't come up. It's connected throughout, but the right hand comes up for the phrase, so it's here. The second line, at the end of the line where you're finishing the phrase, the last couple measures. Now here are the left hand has a slur too. So I'm going to lift both hands up and the pedal, so we get a little silence, total silence here before we go on. So it's here. Okay, and I'm going to pedal it that way. Now when I get over to the top of page 63, it can get a little muddy with this legato pedaling. You know, right there in the first line, you're here. Just for one beat, it's a little muddy. Maybe you don't mind it. If not, that's fine. Then leave the pedal legato all the way through. But if it's bothering you a little, then lift the pedal up on the third beat of the second measure. Keep the hands down, just lift the pedal up. That way you're releasing the blur. That type of thing. You're getting rid of that. Page 63, second line, the last two measures. I recommend lifting the pedal up after the first beat of the last measure. So you're not blurring. See, the left hand's doing this. If you leave the pedal down, you're getting that. So to prevent that, I would lift the pedal up right before or as I play the second beat on that last measure. So the last two measures is this. Now I did not change the pedal at the measure line this time. I just left it down because it's all. That's fine. But I did release it before I played the A, or as I play the A. Okay, and then you can go on. Then at the end, of course, the pedal and the hands come up at the same time after the 6 counts. Let's try this out. 3/4 time, we'll go slow. So, right hand here, left hand here. Foot's on the pedal. 1, ready, go.